Okay.
Kadosh Boker Or. We were going to share with you a new program called Beki'im Bahalacha, the daily program 1Hilchot Tefillah Shulchan Aruch, Siman Memvav, which is basically the Siman, which is going to talk about 46, which is Birkot Hashachar. Okay, so we're going to start. So first there's an introduction, and then we're going to actually start the Siman of the Halachot. So Birkot Hashachar, B'ezrat Hashem, everyone will get their own books. Every morning we recite a series of blessings called Birkot Hashachar. This is the way that we thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for so many gifts, things that He provides us constantly to enable us to survive and to function as we do, which means, what is Birkot Hashachar? It's blessings in the morning. But what are we doing? Thanking Hashem. That's all we're doing. We're thanking Hashem. By reciting these birachot, we acknowledge that Hashem gives us the ability to think, to reason, to see, to move, to keep our balance. We recognize the fact that HaKadosh Baruch Hu enables us to replenish our energy after being exhausted, that He provides us with clothing and all other necessities, and especially for the fact that He chose us, the people of Am Yisrael, to be a special nation and sanctified us with the opportunity to fulfill His mitzvot. The basis, where does this come from? Meaning, it's a beautiful idea, but where did it come from? The concept of Birkot HaShachar. So the Rabbi Turim, the Tur, he quotes Rav Natronai Gaon. Remember that after you had Tanaim is the Mishnah. After the Mishnah, you had the Amoraim. The Amoraim were the Gemara. After the Moraim, you actually had Savoraim, and then the Geonim, right? There's Savoraim and Geonim. The Geonim were right before the Rishonim. So Geonim, you have Rav Hai Gaon, Rav Achai Gaon, Rav Shaltiel Gaon, Rav Natronai Gaon. You have Geonim. These Geonim were mamash. They were Geonim. So they were right after, right, this period of the Amoraim and everything, you had them. So the Arba Turim, right, cites Rav Natronai Gaon. He explains, okay, that the obligation to say the Berachot, the Birkot HaShachar, is the general obligation of every single day to say 100 Berachot. So actually, it's actually going to make sense why we're going to bring down the concept of 100 Berachot B'chol Yom. Because if the entire purpose is that every single day you have to make 100 Berachot, so therefore it makes sense that you're going to do Birkot HaShachar. How many Birkot HaShachar are you doing? There's 17, there's a lot of Birkot HaShachar. You know how many Birkot HaShachar? So it's beautiful. He quotes a Midrash. The Midrash Rabbi says in Bamidbar Rabbah that during the time of David HaMelech, there was an epidemic. Everyone knows that there was a plague, right? And people were claiming 100 victims every single day. So imagine, it was exactly 100 every day. David HaMelech with the Zuruch HaKodesh realized it was because the people were relaxing their obligation to recite at least 100 berachot every single day, even though Moshe Rabbeinu already instituted this while the nation was still wandering in the Midbar. Once he enforced the institution and restored it, all of a sudden the plague came to an end. So it comes out, we thought that David HaMelech was one that made the institution. Really, Be'emet, it already started from Moshe Rabbeinu in the Midbar. But David HaMelech revived it. You understand? So this is during the time of David HaMelech, during the reign of David HaMelech.
I'm saying in the Midbar, at what point?
During the Midbar, when they were traveling in the desert, he already instituted 100 berachot every single day.
Something? Can I get something? Or
obviously, there has to be something in Kabbalah and everything, or the 100 and everything, but that's the concept.
Who says that it's not David HaMelech, but it's Moshe who instituted it?
The Midrash. The Midrash Rabbah says, that during the reign of David HaMelech, and then he says, although Moshe Rabbeinu was the one that instituted it originally, while the nation, so David HaMelech came and he enforced the institution, restored it. He brought it back. So since he brought it back, that's why we always speak about David HaMelech. But really, it was already Moshe Rabbeinu. You understand? A lot of people, they forget the Ikar. You understand? Fine. This tragedy, right, was taking place. He comes and he says, the tragedy actually comes and taking place partly because there was no organized rules obligating people to recite the blessings. It was up to each person to recite whatever blessings he wanted. Meaning, everyone just makes whatever beracha that you wanted. Okay? To keep so keep track of the number of blessings. So therefore, what they did was, he fulfilled this institution. In order to help ensure that people would never again forget, then Anshe Knesset came and they made, right, with the daily prayer, they made what was called the 100 blessings. So therefore, the Anshe Knesset came and said, this is the berachot that you're going to do. Meaning beforehand, it was a free-for-all. You could do whatever berachot that you want and just try to make sure you get to 100. No, now these are the fixed ones. The Shulchan Aruch hints to the fact that this is basically the institution of morning blessings, since Halakha demanding that every single Jew recites 100 blessings appears in this Siman. Meaning, where is the Halakha that you have to say 100 berachot b'chol yom is actually written in our Siman? Why? This is the Siman of Birkot HaShachar. The answer is one is dependent upon the other. Meaning, why do you have to do Birkot HaShachar? Because of the 100 blessings a day. It makes sense. The Rashba, in his response, remember that the Rashba wrote right? Rabbi Shalom ben Aderet, Sfardi, he actually wrote a sefer on the Gemara, right, which is basically the Rashba on the Gemara. But he also wrote a shoot, Shelot Utshuvot, responsive. So he comes and he says, yes, in his response, he came, he discussed on each other morning Netilat Yadayim, and explained that each morning after a night's sleep, it is as if that we were created new, meaning a Bria Chadasha. Why do we do Netilat Yadayim in the morning? Because we became a new creature, we became something new. This, he asserted, is the meaning of the pasuk, Hadashim la Bekarim Rabbi Munatecha. What does that mean? God's kind's acts are renewed every single morning. So the dependability is imminent. So the Chachamim come and they teach us from the Midrash. So this pasuk is actually talking about when HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us the neshama every single morning, right, when we wake up. And therefore, in recognizing this kindness, right, we recite the series of the morning blessings. So that's what we saw in the Netilat Yadayim. We thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for every single morning that He gave us back our neshama. So the bracha al Netilat Yadayim is not just some purity. We're saying, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you gave us our neshama. Likewise, we begin our day filling with the mitzvot. So we perform Netilat Yadayim. This is similar to a Kohen. When the Kohen goes in the Beit HaMikdash, what does he have to do? Kiddush Yadayim Veraglayim. What is Kiddush Yadayim Veraglayim? Before he starts his service in the Beit HaMikdash, he has to sanctify his hands and his feet. He has to sanctify himself. So the same thing, when we do Netilat Yadayim in the morning, we are sanctifying ourselves towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu to coming and making this creation. By the way, based upon that pasuk of Chadashim Labekarim Rabbi Munatecha, we have the Modeani that it's fixed that way. Why? We say Modeani lefanecha melech havekiyam shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla koma Rabbi Munatecha. Rabbi Munatecha comes from that pasuk Chadashim Labekarim Rabbi Munatecha. That's why it's split. Why? If you remember, there was Rabbi Ben Susan that came here. Right, the younger brother of, I don't remember, it was who was it? No, not Dovi, it was the younger brother.
Yes.
It was Yossi, Rav Yossi Ben Susan. He came, and if you remember, he spoke about that here in the Beit HaKnesset. He said there are two ways that you could say the Modani. Either you could say Modani lefanecha melech havekayam, right, which basically is saying we're thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu melech havekayam shechezarta ben nishmati bechemla rabbah, that you returned our neshama bechemla rabbah with a great mercy, and munatecha that as if to say that there's a munah. So no. It's bechemla with Rabbi Munatecha. There's so much emunah in you, which is exactly, which means the chemla is a pasek. You have to put it beforehand. Okay, and actually change his explanation of the Modeani, because you're saying, Rabbi Munatecha, look how much is there emunah, ki'ilu that there's emunah in us, that he believes in us, and therefore he's giving us back the neshama in order that we should come and we should become fruitful for the next day. So he's actually putting his emunah in us. It's like, I'm going to put imun in you. Do you know? Right, then when a person should be sworn in, right? We had a very big. We're going to have a very big ceremony of swearing in of the new board members. So what do? They have to put their hand on a chumash, right? Yeah, they have the uniform and everything. They put their hand on a chumash and they're going to swear. But what are we going to tell them? We're going to tell them that we are putting our imun in you. We're putting our trust in you. Don't let us down. You understand what that means? Meaning we're putting our trust in you, don't let us down. And that in essence is what the entire concept is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does the exact same thing. He comes and he gives us back the neshama. And he says, I have emunah in you. Don't let me down. Something incredible. It's an incredible yisod. Okay, fine. Individual or cosmopolitan? The plain reading of the Gemara suggests that each individual becomes obligated to recite each one in the morning blessings only after he experiences the gift described in the blessing, which means it is. If you actually paid attention, we learned this with Felipe before, if you remember. Also you reading, right? You remember when we learned Birkot Hashachar, we learned Yahasra, right? What happened is that we actually learned that every single one went according to when it happened. Meaning you woke up in the morning, right? You're going to say Modeani. Right, when you open up your eyes, when you actually open up, right, that's a Gemara. It's a Gemara. It's not only Rama. It's a Gemara, Rambam, and Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch also. Meaning, when you do this, you do that. When you put on your belt, right, you're going to say I forgot the one. Right, each one, right. The tifara was actually the tefillin, according to the Rosh. That when you put on your tefillin, you say the tifara because the tefillin are called pe'er. Right? That's why there was a minhag that some people, they actually get married with a tefillin on. Right? But the concept though, that means that when you get each bracha, when it comes up, now you make the bracha. You were able to open up your eyes, you make pokeachim, you were able to do this, you're able on each one.
So that means if you don't have your belt, for example, you're not going to say...
That's what he's saying. That only according to what you're doing. That is, he's obligated to bless Hashem for his ability to stand only after he stands up. and he blesses them for giving him clothing only when he gets stressed and so on. If someone does not or cannot stand up, he would not make the beracha. If he does not get dressed, he's not going to make the beracha. In fact, this is the ruling of the Rambam. These 18 blessings have no designated order. Each person recites each blessing when he experiences or utilizes that particular ability. Right? There's differences. Oh, 1 second. We'll get to it. And one second. And if someone does not experience, he must not recite it. This is also the ruling of the Shulchan Aruch. Meaning this is basically the Gemara, Rambam, and Shulchan Aruch. We don't do it nowadays, but just 1 second, right? But the concept is there, meaning the Rambam, Shulchan Aruch, the Gemara was, I went and I will be able to open my eyes. I said, Baruch Hashem, Pokeach Ivrim. By the way, it makes a completely different, how do you say it? It makes an effect, a completely different effect, right? Imagine a person comes now and he opens up his eyes and really says, Pokeach Ivrim. Afterwards, what happens is it becomes a So you come to, imagine I come and I tell you, you just open up your eyes. You thank Hashem for it. So now you make the beracha. It's a different world. You understand? Like it's a different, but that was the Rambam, that was Shulchan Aruch. The Kolbo, however, testified that the Geonim, especially Rav Natrunai Gaon and Rav Amram Gaon, they taught that everyone must recite all the blessings every morning, whether or not you experienced it or not. That means it doesn't matter whether you could open up your eyes or not. It doesn't matter whether you could get dressed or not. It doesn't matter. You have to make the beracha. If a person's stuck in bed, he's not going to make the beracha. He's not going to, how do you call it? He's not going to make those berachot that he can't walk or he can't stretch up. Or of course he makes it. Even if someone cannot say, he must say the berachot. Even if it doesn't have clothes, he has to say it. Right? These blessings are not a personal expression of gratitude for an individual's comfort or ability, but rather an acknowledgement that Hashem created the world and created people with these facilities to enable the world to function. Even if someone cannot stand or walk, he still benefits that other people do. Meaning, it's not only on me, it's on everyone. So even if the person cannot walk, a person is blind, he can't even open up his eyes, but other people could see. He benefits from that. So therefore you make a beracha. The common custom follows this opinion. That's what everyone does until nowadays. Yeah, and therefore we all say all the set of the morning berachot, whether or not we experience it or not. This will be explained more below in the footnote halacha number 9. Beracha av beracha smucha lechaverta. So now we're going to go to the next part. Okay, this is the last part of today, by the way. Beracha smucha lechaverta, beracha which is close to its friend. In many cases where we recite a series of berachot, the first blessing starts with Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu melech haolam, but the blessing following does not have it.
Doesn't start with
it, right? I'll give you many examples. Which one? No, for example, Baruch She'amar and Yishtabach. Baruch She'amar is the first blessing. Yishtabach is Smucha lechaverta, it's the last blessing, and if it doesn't start with Baruch Atah Hashem, it starts Yishtabach. The next one also, Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer Or. How does the next one start? Right? No. Leil Baruch Limotenu, you finish. Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer Meorot, Avat Olam. Baruch Atah Hashem Yotzer Meorot is the end of that beracha. It's all one. No, but it's the same beracha. I'm talking about the next.
It doesn't start by Baruch.
No, but the next one doesn't start by Baruch. Meaning Avat Olam does not start with Baruch. The same thing at night time. Hashkivenu. You just finished Baruch Atah Hashem Gal Yisrael. Hashkivenu.
Like a Baruch. It's the same thing. It doesn't start with Baruch.
No, but Leil Baruch is still the same beracha of Yotzer Or. It's all one beracha. Remember, there are 2 berachot in the morning and 1 afterwards, and 2 berachot in the nighttime before, and 2 afterwards. In the morning, you have Yotzer Or, which is Yotzer Or v'Rechoshech, Yotzer Meorot, the same beracha, but it starts and it finishes with the beracha. And Ahavat Olam does not start because it's Smucha lechaverta, but it finishes Baruch Atah Hashem. And afterwards, you don't start with it. You only have Yatziv v'Nachon, and then you finish Baruch Atah Hashem Gal Yisrael. In the nighttime, you have 2 before and 1 afterwards. 1 before Hashem Yivaro, and then the next one starts Ahavat Olam et Yisrael mechavta. You do not start with it. So that's the concept. The concept of beracha smucha lechaverta. When you have a beracha which is close to its friend, you do not have. It does not start with a baruch. Okay, this is the framework of the 19 blessings of the Amidah, and then the first 3 blessings of Birkat Hamazon. Meaning, you have Baruch Atah Hashem, right? Baruch Atah Hashem Hazan etekol, Hazan rachama v'tekol. What do you start next? Al arzenu v'nachalat avotenu. No v'lecha Hashem Elokeinu. You don't start with the beracha. Then you finish Al Haaretz Hamazon Rachem. You don't start with a beracha. Right, you finish it, then you have Betivneh. Right, you don't start, meaning that once you finish with one beracha, you do not start the next one with another beracha. And the same with Amidah. Amidah, you finish Hakel HaKadosh, Hashivenu, then Baruch Hashem Anotzem Tshuva, Selach Lanu. No, you continue going with the Amidah the exact same way. You start the beginning one with the beracha, but then afterwards it just follows suit. You don't have Baruch Hashem, you don't have That's the way that the brachot work. So he comes and he says, Tosafot asked, based on this, why every bracha then has a complete blessings and independent blessings. Since we recite them as a series, the first one should have a bracha, an opening phrase, and all the other ones should not have a preface. So the Tosafot answered that originally people never recited these brachot together as a set, meaning everyone did it separately. So that's why you needed it, right? So since every single person did it differently, so that's why you needed a separate bracha, each one. It makes sense. Because I'm going to say Pukeach Yirim. When are you going to do the next bracha? Maybe 5 minutes later. So you can't come and say Smucha Lechavertam, something that I said 5 minutes ago. It wasn't an order. Birkat Hamazon is an order. Amidah is an order. It's one after another. You're not supposed to make a pasek there. You're not supposed to make a pasek. But here you have it. The idea of bracha Smucha Lechavertam only into a series of brachot that are recited one after another, right? And usually one is sitting or basically like one is fixed. There's not, you're walking around, you're doing, no. It has to be in order. That's Tosafot's answer. The Tosafot gives the second answer. The second answer is, bracha Smucha Lechavertam applies only to lengthy blessings, only to long bracha. The morning blessings, they're so short because basically it's 2 words, 3 words. Right? Pukeach Ivrim, Sokef Kufim, right? Malbish Shalomim, Hanoten Laev Koach, 2 words, 3 words. It's so short, right? So it's like the bracha of eating. Imagine right now I'm going to make a bracha on eating. Birkot Hashem Borei Pri Ha'etz. I eat ha'etz. I'm going to do Birkot Hashem Borei Pri Ha'adama. I'm not going to say Birkot Hashem Borei Cholav. Borei Pri Ha'adama is 3 words. What are you going to do? Borei Pri Ha'adama. It's so short, you have to make the bracha. So therefore, you're always going to do it. Therefore, we cannot shorten whatsoever. With this, we finish. Tam Nishlam Yom Harishon.